everyone. I'm Donna Devane, the Barefoot Guru, station owner here of the Awakened Radio Network, and I would like to invite you to be an active part of our Awakened Radio Network family. We have a live chat room on our station website at awakenedradio.net. We also have forums where you can interact and communicate with our host and with other listeners. We also have opportunities for you to find out who's on, what they're talking about, who are they. Check out our schedule, as well as our Meet the Host page, where you'll get all the information of who is talking on our airwaves and what their message is that they're bringing to you. And if you have a message, something that just burns within you that you must share with the world, then I invite you to add Awakened Radio to your Skype and send me a message so that we can make arrangements to talk about getting you and your message on our airwaves. Awakened Radio is doing more than talking about the problems and talking about how we need to change. We actually are experiencing ourselves as the ones creating the change. Join us. Take part in the Awakened Radio Network family. Visit us today, www.awakenedradio.net. And remember, our website is mobile. You can listen to us through TuneIn. Most mobile devices have a music app. Look for Awakened Radio. If you don't find our station there, then send me an email, awakenedradio@gmail.com, and I will make sure to get them to add us so that you can listen on the go. Be sure and check out our fan page at Facebook. Follow at Awakened Radio on Twitter and at Real Donna Devane on Twitter. Be part of what we're doing. Answer the invitation. Join us, because we are doing more than talking about change. We are knowing ourselves to be the energy of change. I love you.
Welcome. You're now tuned in to your Unfolding Senses on Awakened Radio, a show about opening to your intuitive senses. I'm your host, Rob Ragazine, and I'm on the air every Thursday at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. This show is brought to you by intuitionbyrob.net, where I offer tips and techniques to help you explore your intuition. Please enjoy the show and invite your friends to join us here as well. Let's get started. Hi, it's Rob. I'm Rob Ragazine. You're listening to your Unfolding Senses. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's May 23rd, 2013. We're live. Please join us in the chat room if you like by coming to awakenedradio.net and click on the live chat tab. Or if you have a question about a dream or tonight's topic, which is sacred geometry, you can add Awakened Radio, all one word, to your Skype, or dial 334-649-7204. And we're always welcoming your comments and questions. And please feel free to post in the chat if you have any question about this topic, or past topics, dreams, or anything intuitive that's puzzling you. What's the show all about? It's about really connecting to your intuition, your inner life, and your heart, essentially looking for your inner guidance, no matter your age, race, religion, background, or ideology. Making room in your life for your inner voice to shine through, and mindfully stepping toward a life that matters. Think of your intuition as a broadcast station. You can tune in and connect with whatever you need to or want to. Your heart is constantly sending and receiving information. Just begin to notice and connect with what's flowing into and out of your life. And ask yourself, are you tuned to those channels that are uplifting and helping you to step toward the life of your dreams? Now, tonight's show, as I mentioned already, is Sacred Geometry. And we'll be talking about the basics. You could spend probably an entire lifetime just studying one particular sacred text, such as the Kabbalah or the Bible or the Quran, just to study the what's hidden within those books. So we only have an hour, so we're not going to cover everything, but we'll cover enough to give you a taste of how you might use it within your life. So as you're listening, this is really an opportunity to suspend doubt and disbelief, at least for the next hour, and give yourself the chance to step out of your business and give yourself this next hour time to slow down, settle in, and will make time and space in your life for connecting inward and some stillness to connect to inner meaning. And gradually this space, which is special, can unfold into your outer life over time. And with that in mind, we'll do a short meditation to connect to our intuition, to our bodies, minds, and spirit. You might bring a question with you into the meditation. You might light a candle, and as we're talking about sacred geometry, you might ask how it can benefit you within your life as a question tonight. And allow whatever comes to you in the meditation to come and record it when you're done. So finding a quiet space and sitting or lying down comfortably and closing your eyes and beginning to breathe slowly and gently and releasing any stress from the day. Letting go of any doubts or worries, and let your mind quiet and your body rest. Feel yourself filling with peace and tranquility, bringing your focus to your heart, asking and wondering what it's been yearning for. You may also wish to bring your hands to your heart and then allow your awareness of your heart to deepen as you breathe, settling into stillness. Feel all of your senses open, deepen, and grow. Feel them expanding. Know that this is a special place where you can clearly hear and connect with your inner voice, however it speaks to you. Be mindful of how this space feels. You might ask a question or notice any messages available to you within this space. For instance, your inner ears might hear a word or a phrase. Your inner eyes might see a color, shape, or picture. Your inner nose might pick up a fragrance. Your inner taste might pick up a long-forgotten flavor. You might notice other sensations as well. Pay attention to these, and if you don't understand what they mean, ask for deeper clarity. And again, allowing for whatever comes to you to come. And if nothing does, that's okay. Don't force anything to happen. Simply rest in the stillness and the inner peace. This could be the very thing you've been yearning for. Noticing how your body feels in this time of stillness, and breathing gently into the parts of your body that feel tight or stressed or worried, and allowing yourself to feel comfort in this space, and knowing that you can come here anytime, feeling gratitude for it. And as we prepare to leave, connecting with any messages that you have received, remembering to record them, and appreciating this space. And slowly and gently bringing your focus back to the room and gently opening your eyes, coming back to your body. As we're talking about sacred geometry tonight, I've chosen a secret object related to just that. So you'll be connecting to a shape tonight, and I've posted the challenge into the chat room, and I'll post it into my forum at the end of the show. So tonight's challenge really is about connecting to a particular shape. And don't force yourself, and it's not about guessing. It's simply about being comfortable and connecting to your intuition and feeling into what this object might be. Imagine yourself seeing it on the screen in front of you. Maybe connecting to a memory or a feeling about what this shape might actually be. And just pay attention to how you feel about it. Maybe you'll have a flash of memory. Don't dismiss it. Just try to record it in some way. And notice also any bodily sensations that you might have around it. And ask yourself what they might be connected to. So notice, especially as we're talking about sacred geometry, any shapes, colors, or sensations that you feel. And also connect with the related emotions, which we usually just push aside. And notice any thoughts as they come. And of course, if you're not getting anything, you might try picking up a pen and writing down whatever comes to mind, and see when you're finished writing or finished trying to connect with this object, whatever you got, and see how close. Maybe you got the color, maybe you got the shape, maybe you got both. Congratulate yourself on whatever you did actually perceive. Last week, we discussed the tarot and recurring numbers. And what I'd like to say about the recurring numbers, or recurring letters, I guess, as our caller had, when you're receiving these types of symbols, again, it's important to have a journal and record them, and then try to see what they're connected to in your life. It can be very helpful for you to take steps forward, but it's not just about saying, oh, I saw that symbol again. It's about asking, well, what did that mean? How can I use that in my life? And then trying to find ways to actually work with it and take steps, as I've already mentioned, to incorporate its meaning into your life. And the message really is a healing one. It's just like a dream, almost. It's not saying you're wrong or bad or you've screwed up. It's trying to offer you guidance. So like any guidance, try to find a way to work it into your life. And now for our topic. What sacred geometry really is the study of shapes, colors, as well as vibration, sound, and it really structures everything. Your home, your relationships, your health, money, whatever you attract and manifest, anything that your thoughts actually touch. It's similar to numerology in that there's codes that can be really used to unlock our potential. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, you could probably spend your whole life studying secrets buried in the Kabbalah or other sacred texts. And some people have a difficult time knowing where to start actually studying. They don't understand what it all means and how it could benefit them. But it can be very practical and powerful and useful in every area and level of your life. And it's really about learning more about ourselves. And if we can't apply our study to ourselves, what's the point? So we're trying to find a practical use for it within our life, and getting really down to it, what the study in sacred geometry revolves around is, at its core, it says that everything in the world is based on 5 particular forms, shapes, called platonic solids. We have the hexahedron, the dodecahedron, the tetrahedron, the octahedron, and the isohedron. And you can look up platonic solids on Google and you'll see the shapes. And we really won't get into all the other forms and things that they can create, but you can look up the flower of life and see that that really forms a lot of things within nature, such as sunflowers and ancient architectures based around a lot of these shapes. And alchemists believed that each shape had a specific element associated with it. So, for instance, the hexahedron was considered to be related to earth. The tetrahedron, which is a triangle, was considered to be related to fire. The octahedron was considered to be related to air. The icosahedron was considered to be related to water. And the dodecahedron was considered to be ether or space, also prana. And then the sphere kind of connected to the void, and that's supposed to be the basic building blocks of the universe. And then you have male and female energy. Female energy never being straight lines, and then male energy being the straight lines and right angles. So what's really important here is to just realize that this is supposed to have meaning within our lives, and to notice, for instance, when you're in a city, notice the shapes and how the buildings are structured and organized. I was just watching a commercial and I noticed a particular shape within the commercial, which we'll get to later. It was a makeup commercial, and the shape just popped out at me. But what's important here is to realize the context. Isolated forms and shapes and things of that nature really aren't important out of context. What is important is the underlying meaning and purpose we give them in anything really in our life. Now, Leonardo da Vinci, you've probably seen a lot of his drawings, and Pythagoras, and Plato, and Galileo, Michelangelo. All these people really were deep studiers of sacred geometry and did a lot of study themselves, so you can basically see their artwork and how it reflects what they understood themselves. Each particular shape, as I was mentioning, has different properties. And adding color to the shape changes its meaning and its energy, supposedly its vibrational rate. So its texture, its overall feeling changes as you add color and depth to it. So a color like red is supposed to be active and more vibrant than, say, something like blue. So the basic shapes, like a square, supposed to relate to the physical world, stability, structure, organization, and a circle is supposed to be oneness because it's all just one continuous line. Now, in this makeup commercial, I saw was a square box with a circle inside of it. So what I'm thinking is they're trying to connect with us unconsciously to think that this makeup is helping us to look, give us structure and help us look younger forever. So the square is giving us the structure and the circle is giving us the continuity, the continuousness. And You might not notice it if you're just watching it. It just flies by, but it's in there. Some other shapes. A sphere supposed to represent movement, unlimited choices, opportunity. The octahedron, which is two pyramids with the bases joined together, is supposed to represent balance and perfect manifestation. A cube or a block, stability, and we'll work with the cube later on. A cylinder, which is supposed to represent movement, and the cone, focus and clarity. And there's other shapes which you can work with on your own, and we'll talk about in a future show. Now, as I was talking about, the colors represent specific conditions, and some of the colors we use to correspond to the chakra system, and we'll work with them to do a short meditation in a few minutes. And you can combine the colors with the shapes to meditate and to bring about what you would like to manifest in your life. And you can work with crystals, and if we have time, we'll talk about crystals as well. As I was talking about red before, we can use red when we want to work on, for instance, a new project. You might have a meditation with red, and you might bring in red crystals and create a crystal grid, which we'll talk about later. And so the basic use of the shapes and colors in the outer world, you might look to things like labyrinths, crystal healing, chakras, auras, music, and we'll talk about the chakras now. And we'll work with a cube as we do a meditation. And the cube really is talking about having a solid foundation, stability, being patient, being consistent, having time and space for things to flow into our lives and not necessarily grasping for them, giving ourselves time and space to allow whatever needs to come, whatever we're desiring for to come into our lives. And meditating, as I was talking about on the cube, can help us to feel more connected, more grounded, less stressed, less worried, let go of tension. Connecting back to ourselves, connecting to nature. So perhaps meditating in nature on a cube, or seeing yourself in a cube outside in nature, to help yourself feel more centered and more stable. So for this meditation, which we'll do, we'll go through our chakras. So finding yourself a comfortable position, sitting or lying down, and you might have a pad by you to record whatever you experience when we're done. So imagine that you're small enough to step into your body, sort of like a Fantastic Voyage or similar, but you can also see the energy moving within your body. And bringing your attention to the base of your spine and seeing the swirling of your first chakra here and noticing its power. Feel its energy, feel its vitality, and noticing any shapes or symbols already present. Now imagine, feel, and see a cube of light growing to the size necessary to protect this chakra. It can be red, but use the color that's appropriate to you. And breathe into it. And continue breathing and imagine the cube strengthening and surrounding and protecting this chakra. Now, when you're ready, bring your focus to your lower abdomen, about 2 inches below the navel. And you can see and imagine and feel, as you're breathing, an orange cube forming and surrounding your second chakra. And feel and acknowledge it. And notice how you feel now, especially around comfort, love, grace, and fluidity. Spending any time you need to breathe into this area. And when you're ready, bringing your focus up to the upper abdomen in the stomach area, solar plexus. See, imagine, and feel yourself breathing a yellow cube around your third chakra. And notice how you feel around power and will and strength. Next, bring your focus to your heart area, the center of the chest. See, imagine, and feel a green cube around your heart chakra. And breathing out any stress in this area. And noticing how you feel around compassion and matters of the heart. And moving up and bringing your focus to the throat. And notice a blue cube forming around your throat chakra. And releasing any tension here. And when you're ready, moving on, but noticing how you feel now around things not said, expressiveness, expansiveness. And next, bringing your focus to the center of your forehead, seeing an indigo or purple cube, your third eye. Releasing any tension here, and noticing how you feel around clarity of thought, focus, acceptance of your intuition, listening to yourself, and finally, bringing your focus to the top of your head and seeing and imagining and feeling a violet cube around your crown chakra, releasing any stress and noticing how you feel around connection, community, wisdom, and spirituality. And when you're done, feeling into what felt blocked, and you might go back and spend more time there, or buzzy, and you might look to releasing that energy in some particular way. Maybe art, movement, activity of some kind, whatever it is, find a way to release the stress and let it go. And I'll have this meditation on my forum and recorded for you to listen to again when you have more time. But we have about less than a minute left till break. So if you have a question about this when we come back, I'll gladly talk to you about it. Come into the chat room or give us a call.
Welcome to the Awakened Radio Network, awakenedradio.net. Do you have a message? Are you so excited and passionate about things that even though your family and friends are telling you, please, no more, no more, you just can't help talking about it? Well, we've got the perfect place for you. Join our Live Talk Radio host here on the Awakened Radio Network. We will help you, support you, guide you to getting your message out to people all around the globe. Hosting your very own radio show brings you satisfaction. It encourages yourself as you're encouraging others. And most importantly, as you open up and you share, you grow in wisdom and awareness. So join us at awakenradio.net today. Look at the top where it says Services, Awakened Radio Services. Click on that. The drop-down menu will allow you to click Be a Host. Find out all about what hosting your very own message here with the Awakened Radio Network team, what it will mean to you and how you can help the world. Join us, awakenradio.net.
Thank you for joining me, Rob Ragazine, here on my show, Your Unfolding Senses. Please feel free to join us in the chat room or call us here at Awakened Radio with your intuition or healing questions. Simply dial 334-649-7204 or add Awakened Radio to your Skype. Okay, we're back. If you have any questions about that meditation, please feel free to post them in the chat or give us a call. Awakened Radio to your Skype or 334-649-7204. Now, you might already be seeing these particular shapes and symbols, such as the cube, in your dreams or when you look at people in their auras, or perhaps right when you fall off to sleep or before you go to sleep. Just as you close your eyes, you might already see these patterns. So just notice what you're seeing and find a way to connect with what those images might mean for you, as I was mentioning right at the close, through art or movement or some kind of creative activity, whatever that is for you. Find a way to express how and what you feel the shapes that are coming to you actually mean, and express them within your life. Basically, don't dismiss them. Try to find a way to connect with them. And you can look it up in a book, but it's best to, again, try to find a way to connect with the meaning for yourself first, and then later on you can go look at the book and see that you were accurate all along. Now I'd like to talk about labyrinths, because those are important patterns that we've been working with for a very long time. What is a labyrinth? It's a circular ancient pattern, and they've been used and found in cultures throughout the world. In the medieval times, they were a symbol of a hard path to God, and they had clearly defined centers. So a labyrinth isn't a maze. It's often they'll have one entrance, but I've been to workshops where they had multiple entrances just so that we could accommodate lots of people walking at the same time. But it does have a simple route to the center and back, and it's not designed to be difficult to navigate. So you can create your own if you have a big enough space to do it. And they're always believed to have served as paths for rituals, dances, meditation, so you can walk it as a meditation. And originally, they served the purpose of prayer and substituted for travel, because people couldn't afford to travel to the holy sites, and so they walked the labyrinth instead. And in general, they can be thought of as sort of a symbolic form of a pilgrimage. And you can notice that they're set in the floors of many churches in Europe, and you can look them up and do some research around that. They're pretty interesting, but you don't have to go to Europe. They're all over the place here in the United States. You could even build your own, and I'm posting that link into my forum and the chat room too. And I'll talk a little bit about my experience. It's different every time because you have obviously a different intention each time that you walk. And there's really supposed to be 3 different phases of the walk, which I'll cover briefly. But I've been to retreats that offered the many different opportunities to do it, and each time, as I was saying, it's different and amazing. And I remember sometimes spending a day or two in silence just to prepare, so making it that much more special. So maybe if you wanted to do a walk, to spend some time disconnecting from the usual busyness and settling into stillness, and then coming up with an intention for your walk, something that you might want to release. And I think one of my second or first walk, it was simply to let go of the need for everything, to understand how everything worked. And of course, you might wear something special or nothing. I've been in walks where some chose to wear very little. So usually there's one path toward the center and back, although there may be more than one starting place, as I mentioned already, to facilitate the larger crowds. And so maybe 4. So it's usually a tight geometric shape, but one path to the center and one back. So you're making room for people as you're walking and stepping aside, but it's done in silence. You're not chatting with people as you're passing them. You're doing it silently. And you may walk as slowly, as fast as you like. So it might take 5 minutes to get to the center, might take half an hour, might take an hour. And then once you get there, you might spend 5 minutes there, you might spend again a half an hour. Sometimes it's a logistics thing with lots of people to move through. You obviously have to accommodate the needs of others. But I've been to walks where somebody sat there for the entire walk and beyond. It's really giving you time and space to contemplate and reflect. And you can leave so I've been to walks where they set up the labyrinth with tape, and then I've been to walks where they set it up with rocks. Obviously, depending on where you are, if you're in a large enough space and you have outside space, you can do it with rocks. But if you only have an internal space, because I've been to a walk where it was wintertime, so we just were in a big meeting room. We had painter's tape and we created the labyrinth. So that was one morning experience where we talked about how we wanted to create it, and then built it, and then left it for the entire, I think it was 3 or 4 days. And then people could come in the early morning and walk by themselves silently. And then we met and unrolled carpets and covered it up. But usually it's there, and you're given the time and space to do your walk and contemplate what it means to be in the center and in that space and be centered, to think about that, to be connected to the earth, to be grounded. So there's supposed to be 3 different parts. So there's the releasing, letting go of your stress, your doubts, your worries, by shedding things, opening your heart and mind, connecting to the energy of the labyrinth, letting things go, not worrying, closing off the outside world. Then there's the allowing. So when you connect to the center, you can stay there as long as you like, and it's supposed to be about meditation and prayer and allowing in something new. And then there's the returning, which gives you the opportunity to have already let something go, and then feeling the healing as it's coming into the new space that you've created. So essentially, you might go in with some burden that you'd like to let go of, and as you're walking, you're letting that go, and then reaching the center, you're now supposed to be open and have a new space opening within your life, if that makes any sense. And each time you walk, you're doing it from a new space, and you become more empowered to find and do the work for which you feel your heart is really calling for. So for me, each time was totally different. I've done it outside in the warm weather, and I've done it in the middle of winter, which makes it harder, obviously, to connect to nature, but still, I've seen people, make space to do that inside, to take time to really connect with themselves, and I've seen them crawl to the center. I've seen them walk to the center. And I've spent, in my own walks, I've spent, as I was mentioning before, 5 minutes walking to the center, or I spent half an hour just thinking about my life and where I was and connecting in. So if you look up the patterns and you have the space for it, I really recommend trying it at least once, or going to one of the various labyrinth walks. And there's really very few guidelines. Basically, it's finding time to quiet your mind and allowing yourself to find the pace that your body wants to move in. For me, that means stepping into a place of specialness. I guess sacredness is the word for me, and seeing what happens. Maybe also having an intention definitely helps to step into that space. So intending to create space in your life for something new. And as you're walking, people are obviously passing you, so just it is meditation, but also being aware enough to step aside and let them pass. But also, it's treating the walls as if they're actual walls, whatever it happens to be, whether it's a tape or a rock. You're not willy-nilly stepping over the tape or the rocks. You're just simply stepping aside. But you're doing what feels natural. It's following the path. The path has a purpose, and the purpose is about connecting inward to your higher self or higher power or whatever the word is or phrase is for you. At the simplest form, it's a circular path, inward and outward. And a meditation phrase, a short it's called the metta meditation, that might help you while you're in the center is, may I be happy, may I be peaceful, may I be free of suffering, may I have ease of well-being. So you might try that, or something that pertains to you, or something that you've written for yourself. But the walk really is about opening to yourself, listening to yourself, connecting inward, finding time to truly bring greater depth of meaning into your life. And I think the biggest benefit is when you do come up with an intention. And it's, as I was mentioning before, it's not a maze. There's only one path, so there aren't any tricks and no dead ends. It's really a mirror for where we are within our lives. So it gives you an opportunity to see what's going on internally, to really listen in and connect inward and see any type of issues that might be big, for instance, shadow. I've been to one conference where everyone was dealing with the shadow issues. They were looking at stuff, big stuff that they were projecting out onto others, and that gave me an opportunity really to see what I was projecting onto others. For instance, we talked about what we saw in others and what made us want to open up and talk with them, what made us not want to talk with them. And I talked about how I thought people looked bored and didn't want to talk with me, but they thought that I was simply not interested in talking with them. So it really gave me an opportunity to look at how I disconnected. And it also gave me a better opportunity to connect with people. And the walk really helped to reflect that, in that I had time to, just like a meditation, to reflect on this as I walked. And obviously you're really close to people, so you get to see their eyes and what they're projecting out. And you're not necessarily staring at them, but you're right there with them. So it's about having compassion for these people as you're passing. And that's where the mirror really comes up strongly, at least for me, because here I am passing these people, and it reminded me of being, for instance, in an elevator where nobody is talking with anybody, and it related back to that conversation. Basically, you're walking in with an open mind and an open heart. Anything can happen. So it gives you really the opportunity to feel what's inside as you're walking in silence. And today, they're used to help people prepare for surgery, cope with stress, reduce pain, build a deeper sense of inner peace, of course. But there's research that have been done that really shows that it helps to people really prepare for the surgery. And Harvard Medical School found that focused walking really is highly effective in reducing anxiety, and it produces what they call a relaxation response. So using that in conjunction with the labyrinth really helps people to settle down, calm down, and release stress, which really might give you an opportunity to look at a new way to release stress on occasion. Now, going deeper into all this geometric shape, sacred geometry stuff, as you might call it, it's really connected to a series of numbers called the Fibonacci sequence, which is created by adding the previous two numbers together to form the third number. So the numbers are 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, blah, blah, on and on and on. But you can add 1 and 2 together to get 3, 2 and 3 together to get 5, and this sequence of numbers is, if you divide any number in that sequence by the one before it, you're always going to get 1.61, which is known as the golden ratio, which is used to form all kinds of structures and within the sacred geometry concept and in nature. It's called the golden mean. And it was used to design sacred buildings, ancient architecture, the labyrinths, and it's reflected in nature. So if you look at a sunflower, it has a particular pattern, and it's all kinds of different forms, from seashells to the human body. So that famous picture by Leonardo da Vinci there with the circle and the square, showing that our bodies fit the golden ratio. So just to notice that, and to notice the shapes, the seashell, the spirals, all the different spirals in the world, and just to begin to notice it. And so the geometry of snowflakes, snails, shellfish, birds, flying, insects, all kinds of trees, way that rivers branch, all kinds of different things in nature. And that includes our stones and crystals. And I really wish that I had more time for this, but we can talk about crystal grids with our remaining time. And it's really about placing particular stones in a geometric pattern for directing ourselves and our energy towards a particular desire or goal. And of course, you'll be charging them with your intention and your energy. I don't know if anyone has worked with crystal grids before, but I've been experimenting with them this past week. I haven't really worked with them myself. I just have worked with various crystals. So I've been working with a crystal grid composed of quartz, and I just used a square pattern for structure. And to create a crystal grid, you basically want to have a center stone that's bigger and more powerful than the rest, so that's your focus point, and then you can create a pattern around that. So there's obviously various different patterns that I mentioned at the top of the show. You could do a circle or a square or a spiral pattern, or any number of other patterns, whichever speaks to you. But I was really working with the square this week for the structure around the clarity and the focus that I was looking for, and just to feel it internally. So to create it and then leave it somewhere and meditate on it. But it's really important just to have fun with it, be creative. You can't really make a mistake if you're using it for good, benign purposes. And you can put it, I have been just leaving it on a table, but you can put it on a movable surface or any spot where you won't have it be disturbed, and then to pass by it and reflect on it. So obviously you want stones that you've either cleared with smudging or salt water, and however you might like to clear them. Now we only have 5 minutes left, so I'll leave this topic for another show. But if you have any questions about creating your own grid, you can come to my forum and ask questions. But basically, you can come to awakenedradio.net, and at the top of the page, click on the forum tab and go to the show interaction and comment on your unfolding senses, and I'll get back to you. Or you can also click on the contact me button there, and I'll get right back to you. And again, my site is intuitionbyrob.net, and my Twitter is intuitionbyrob, and the Facebook page for this show is Your Unfolding Senses. And if you've enjoyed this show or other shows, you can click on the donate button on the top of all the pages, and it's greatly appreciated as we're here at no cost to you. And if you can also support us by going to the store, and I believe we have a 50% off sale going on now, and you can get dream catchers, kefir, gemstones, and other healing kits, or readings from different people, including me. You can also look at being a host here or being a sponsor. Basically, we have an opportunity to offer you a 30-second promotion spot, which is played 3 times during our broadcasts: at the introduction, at the halfway point, and at the end of the broadcast. You give us a 30-second script, and then we talk about you. We record the audio and play it during the intro of the show, and at the end, and at the halfway point too, I guess. And basically, you're being endorsed by our network and the host of your choice, and your message is played during the program, and then it's also will be in the archives. So that's a really great opportunity to promote your business if you match up with one of the shows. I want to thank you for joining me tonight. If you have any questions about tonight's show, then please feel free to contact me via email, Twitter, Facebook, or the forum. And please join me again next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern on awakenradio.net. Next up is Chris Beulah with Farm Girl by 40. Look forward to that. And I'll leave with a quote, which is all about what I've been talking about tonight. It's from Jean Shinoda Bolen. She says, when you recover or discover something that nourishes your soul and brings joy, care enough about yourself to make room for it in your life. So noticing any messages that you're receiving in your meditations, or if you do a labyrinth walk, or if you begin to work with crystals, whatever you're called to do, notice whatever messages you're getting and find a way to incorporate them into your life. And I thank you again for joining the show, and good luck in your intuitive journey.
'Cause we're awakened, you won't catch us sleeping through the fight in life. We're all eyes open, showing our inside and light so bright. We are awakened, come and join our love, it's so right. If you could feel what we feel now, you'd be a leader filled with might. 'Cause we're awakened, you won't.
You are listening to Awakened Radio. Join us today at awakenedradio.net.